Here we are with another Friday morning live, September 26, 2025. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I got off guard with doing stuff. I lost track of time. uh, Hope everybody's doing great. Looks like we have a beautiful sunny day in the greater teal. The world's gone cuckoo. War is the agenda, and they continue with doing their warmongering all over the world. It's just insane what's going on these days. You know, I truly believe that mankind was at an era where war was obsolete. I thought, I truly believed it was in our hearts and in mankind and humanity's hearts that we were done with it, but it doesn't seem to be the case. You know, we are full bore war. And it looks like it's only getting worse. They're preparing in Europe for more war and all kinds of crap. So, what do we do? What do we do? We go within. Season change is upon us. We have another week left for the season change dry fast. Go within and send out plaf to these evil psychopaths that only want to have war. Right? This is crazy times. Just checking the sound. So, you know, looking at, since before lockdown and after lockdown, let's look at that again. We see a huge shift in the way humanity has been focusing on and going, right? We see a huge shift. There's massive movement after the lockdown going towards eating, more carnivorous. And what do we see from people going in that direction? What do we see? We see a lot more aggression around the world. When we put something into our mouth, we chew it and we put it within our body. We become that. Yes, the body will transform it and build the body. No matter what we do, it will do whatever it can to continue to build the body until it comes to a point where its obstruction is overcomes the function of the body, and then the problems start, or it shuts down completely, right? So, you know, you can't just we can't just put anything into our body, eat anything, and then go do an enema and think it's all gone. There's a 9 year cycle that we go through, and everything we consume that we become part of, we become. It's if we want to change, we have to really stay on a journey for a 9 year cycle, depending where we're on our cycle. If we're at the beginning of a 9 year cycle, it's going to be a lot longer. If we're near the end of our cycle, we get lucky. So, um, it's just not that easy as people, take this, this will detox you, put you on this drug, put you on that drug, take this herb, and it'll solve all your problems. Keep hearing this over and over and over again, all this marketing hype crap. It's just so sickening and tiring, being around this for 35 plus years. It's so sickening of the lengths that people will go to sell something. Some people will believe in this until they don't believe it anymore, and they jump on to the next thing. We've all been there, and it's just a roller coaster ride, up and down. So we have to pay attention what we put in our body. Like talking about the food pyramid. How many different pyramids have come out? Food pyramids since they came out the first one, whenever that was. I don't know, many years ago. They've changed it many times. People have created their own. It's always linear, carnal, straight lines. There's nothing in nature that's straight lines. There's always cycles in nature. There's going to be always cycles in the human body. There's always cycles in the universe. So we have to, we don't have to. We choose to do the things that move us in the direction of peace, balance, and correct conduct. There's no have to do anything. Free will is a double-edged sword, right? You can use the sword to, cut things, shave, chop wood, whatever. Or you can use it to kill, like the knife. So, going back to that food pyramid thing, it's just always been changing. We trashed that idea completely in the realm of MFS, bringing out this food spiral, right? In the center's nothingness, where it's pure, divine plasma love always flowing. Limitless love, limitless energy source, where all things come from and all creation continues to come from. We tap into that, and there is no limits. Just if we just look at the world of sports, 4-minute mile, impossible, and it was broken, and they keep breaking new records. Weightlifting, yeah, okay, they're doing drugs and everything, but I'm just showing that these records are barriers of the mind. The drugs are just another concept, belief system that we take in as a belief system, and it makes the body do certain things. The belief system is what does it for the most part, in my opinion, and everybody can believe whatever they like. So we look at weightlifting. records being broken all the time. The deadlift record has just been broken a couple more times. 505 kilos, and then he did 510 kilos not too long after. What's his name? Thor. Uh, Eddie Hall was the first to break the 500 kilo barrier. That was a mental blockage barrier for mankind. Nobody did even close to 500 before Eddie Hall. Once that was broken, Thor broke it during lockdown. It was 501, but it was contested, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't official. So then he tried and he failed the first attempt, and he did a second attempt not too long ago, 505, smashed it. 510 made it even look easier than 505. So, records are meant to be broken. We can shatter records if we let go of our belief systems. No difference with disease. Disease is a way of living, just like being in a state of health is a way of living. Being in a state of divine bliss is a way of living. So we can choose either path. I've never seen so many people in such vulnerable, low faith state than at this time. After all the miracles we've seen, thousands of people coming through this MFS realm, we've seen so many miracles, and people easily forget. Just go watch all the old videos from the first year or two, and just listen to what transformations people have gone through. The possibilities are limitless. It's our belief system that gets in the way. The marketing hype, it just distorts people's belief system. Otherwise, they wouldn't be spending the money on marketing. Right? All these big corporations who continue to spend money on marketing, millions of dollars, billions of dollars a year, all these corporations, you think they'd be spending that money if it didn't work? Absolutely. The more the lie is repeated and the bigger the lie, the more the people believe it. But it has to be, on an ongoing basis, has to be kept repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating, and people start believing that lie. Right? Modern medicine. People believe it. There's a few of us that don't. And people wholeheartedly believe, and people will fight to the death with for that belief system. Right? We can go on with climate change, another thing. People, they wholeheartedly believe, and they'll fight till death because of that belief system, right? And everything's like that. Diets. People will fight to their death because they believe in their diet, right? It's keto, this is the diet. It's paleo, this is the diet. It's, carnivore, that's the diet. It's pescatarian, that's the diet. It's Mediterranean, that's the diet. It's a grainivore, people who eat just lots of grains. It's raw vegan, it's vegan. It's it's fruitarian. And people will fight to their death for their belief system. As I keep saying, all diets lead through death. If you want the evidence, just go to any funeral parlor and ask the people, of the loved ones of the deceased if they practiced eating regularly, and 100% of the time you're gonna see that they did. So the evidence is there. We're all born to die, right? All diets lead to death. Now, what's the best diet? Uh, what I believe is not what everybody believes, but I believe the best diet is least obstructive, minimal eating with bringing the body to a state of low obstructions. So there's lots of fasting in the lifestyle. Clean it out very well. That GI tract has to be clean at all times. Because once we do the obstructions, we're going to feel it. And, when we choose sweet, which we do for fun, because there's limitless sources of energy, it's not food, it's not the only source of energy, which is the lowest, most obstructive way to put energy in the body. So we, we got to choose things that are not heavy, stimulating things. Yes, people live on stimulants. It's been happening for who knows how long, thousands of years, I don't know. People have been living on stimulants in the last 100 years, more so than ever, with all the synthetic drugs and so on and so forth. People live on stimulants and they survive. And some people go to the 80s, 90s on stimulants. How? Who can explain any of this stuff? The belief system, faith can overcome matter, as we've seen. There's many, many examples out there. Some baby gets trapped under the car, the mother lifts the car off the baby and saves the baby or whatever. It's all kinds of stories out there. So, for myself, all these years of all the different diets and so on and so forth, and all the fasts I've done, what it makes us, puts our body into a state of being very sensitive, everything, so the most obstructive thing, in our opinion, in this realm is the oils and fats, right? You put these things in the body, and very, very stimulating, very numbing, very soothing for people, very satiating, makes people feel good, full, that full feeling that people are looking for. And, so that's why it's highly addictive, right? Highly addictive. Fat is highly, highly addictive. So when I put this stuff in my body, my body just goes, whoa, it's just a no-no. Everything slows down, kind of side effects on everything. It's that sensitive. So I just stay away from that stuff for the most part, right? Stay away from it. The next most obstructive things are the high proteins, which are highly stimulating. Highly stimulating, right? You got the bodybuilders and everything, athletes and so on, into the high protein stuff. If I put that into my body, high protein, plant-based, animal-based, not huge difference. There is some difference, right? Plant-based stuff is a little easier on the body, a little easier than the animal-based. The animal-based it's um, certain things that it does to the body, and the plant-based has certain things it does to the body, and they both have similar things that they do to the body, right? Then you have so you talk of legumes, high protein for plant-based legumes, nuts, seeds. A lot of them have high proteins and fat. So we have the grain category. Grains, wheat, barley, all the ancient grains and everything else, and rice, and put those in my body. And the next morning is where you feel. When you eat it right away, you have a certain feeling, but the next morning is a huge tail sign. Tells all. How do the joints feel? How does the mind feel? How do the eyes feel? How do your hearing, your sight, everything is affected from when you're doing all these foods. So we need to pay attention on all these things, right? And the grains do a number of things on me. Inflammation, joints, skin, even the fats. The fats affect my skin. Like even the oils, even for me, the feeling of oil on my skin, I don't like the feeling of oil anymore for anything, I just don't like the feeling of oil because it's so clogging. A free-flowing energy body, when we're tapped into Plaf, it doesn't want these heavy things. It does not want these heavy things. It doesn't want to be drawn into that carnal, heavy, matter state plane. It doesn't want it. Doesn't like it. Doesn't do well on it. We can do it occasionally, but we law of cause and effect comes into play. And then we have the grains. We have the heavier, like root vegetables. You put those in the body, and you feel a certain way, and you wake up. The mucus. Like fats. Fats give me a lot of mucus. High protein gives me mucus. The fats give me the worst mucus. Next to grains. Fats, grains, high mucus. The protein's right behind it, the high protein. Right behind it. Not much, huge difference. Still get, So we have the root vegetables. Beets would be, get less starchy than potatoes or sweet potato. Then you have carrots. And what else do you have? Cassiva. There's a number of different root vegetables. They're all very similar. Beets and carrots, less starchy once they're cooked. And then we go into the leafy greens, right? In the herb kingdom. The herbs. A wonderful herb. I like going out in the garden, just picking the wild dandelion, chewing on it, parsley, basil, whatever's there. And my salads, I'm eating it as I'm picking it. It's my salad. I like doing that. I like the taste of the bitter greens. The herbs. I love the bitter herb. I love all the flavors. All the flavors. And then you feel a certain way when you do the greens, right? Much less than all the other previous categories. Much less than the greens. Still, you get a bit of heaviness from the greens. They're tough to digest. You need to chew them well. Blending or juicing, easier to consume them that way, but we're moving away from what is natural, I guess, the way animals consume these foods. And then we go into the fruit category. Consume fruit. Now you have different categories of fruit, right? Sweet, subacid, acid. Fatty, there's only, olives, low fat, about 20%. We have durian, 30% average fat. Avocado, 70% average fat. I don't know what else has that much fat in it. Olives, I can eat a certain amount. If I have too many olives, I will feel it. But olives are much easier than durian and avocado for sure. Durian, if I have too much durian, yeah. Even olives, if I overdo it on olives. So these things are nice, just to, if you want to enjoy the flavors once in a while. Like a small handful of olives are easy to get carried away with olives, right? Yeah. A couple of small pieces of durian. We don't want to go crazy on this stuff. I've talked about the durian experiment. I had durian for like over 3 months, just durian and wheatgrass. And the body started saying no more. It was not pleasant. And if we look at what was his name, that fruitarian that passed away not too long ago, he was having avocados and durian every single day. His body shut down. You can't eat that way. You cannot eat that way. So, fruit, sweet fruits make you feel a certain way. Subacid fruits make you feel a certain way. And the acid fruits make you feel a certain way. Right? Depending what it is, like the subacid, is the feeling is more towards the acid side. The sweet is kind of a different category. Like a date, banana, white grapes. These are sweet categories. Mango, subacid. Dark grapes, red or black, are subacid. We have our acids, or lemons, limes, oranges, tangerines, pomegranates, subacid. Blueberries, the berries. I think the most of them would probably be subacid. Cherries, subacid. So, we put these things in our body and they give you a different feeling. But when we put the fruit, leave out the fat stuff, almost no negative side effects from it. Unless you're very, very obstructive, you just start eating fruit and you're going to get a lot of gas because there's so much obstructions in the GI tract that needs to go, and it's not going to happen through eating. And we need to get into a fasting lifestyle to purge that stuff out. And once that stuff's purged out, stay on fruit, and you start thriving, right? You know, the lighter, less obstructive we eat, right? The easier it is to fast. The easier it is to fast, and the longer we can go, because the GI tract, the plasma vacuum tube, needs to be free of obstructions. And when it's free of obstructions, we can tap into the limitless sources of energy. So anyway, just blabbing along here. If there's anybody out there, now's a great time to ask questions, or we'll call it a day. Um, so pay attention what you're eating. Stop listening to all the propaganda, about all these potions, pills, lotions, drugs that are going to save you and fix all your problems, because they don't exist. These are make-believe things, and if you fall in that trap, nobody's going to help you. Nobody's going to help you. Nobody can do it for you. You got to do it all on your own, right? We're here we can guide you. But, ultimately, we have to do it on our own. We have to purge ourselves and make it happen. So let's send prayers and divine plaf to all those in dire needs, and continue to pierce the hearts of the evil ones with plaf. With that said, ciao for now. We'll see you back on the page. Next call Wednesday, Facebook Live. Ciao for now.